Hello guys! Today I'm going to show you how to mount a BL Touch, how to connect it to the motherboard the right way, and how to do the firmware work so it runs like it should, and also how to do, if you use my firmware for example, how to do the Z offset the right way. So for now it's stock mounted. Let's go and we start right now. I'm going to try to change the camera angles a little bit in the video so you can see more closely what's done and what I'm doing. For now, the first thing we do is to unplug the ribbon cable and to take off the yellow fan shroud. Only 3 screws, 2 from the side, 1 from the top. Unscrew it and you can pick up the yellow fan shroud. If you want to use the original one, you can drill 2 2mm holes inside here and break this part out of it so you can mount the BL Touch. This is for example a 3D Touch version 2.1. So I'm now first going to mount it to this plate. Try to do the best way that it's centered and not too much to the right or to the left. So it should be in the center of the shroud. Later I can adjust it on these long holes to move it up or down a little bit, depends how close it's to the build plate. For now we put this to the side right now because now we don't need it. We are going to do the cable work. Normally I use this cable. It comes with every BL Touch and 3D Touch you buy on Amazon or some other things. This end is plugged to the BL Touch and the other side is plugged into the printer motherboard. And this is now what I'm going to show you, how to plug it the right way. And if you don't want to use the way with soldering and something, I can show you a way how to use it and connect it. It's not the nicest way that looks very pretty, but it works for me and everything is fine. Okay, for now I'm going to turn the printer now the other side so I can unscrew the bottom plate. There are 6 screws, the 4 foots and the 2 in the middle. Now you can take off the bottom plate and everything is open. I'm going to move my camera a little bit to show you how to do things and how to connect it the best way. In just a second, I have to move some cables here. Okay, like you see, here is the motherboard. Okay, now the cable is free, so I can show you. You have here the three connectors. It's X-axis, Y-axis and the Z-axis. We have to unplug this because this is the Z-axis end stop. We don't need it if we do the wheel touch inside of it, so it's hot glued. Try to remove the glue a little bit and be careful while pulling it out. Okay, now it's pulled out. You see now the green one is free, so I can plug in the wheel touch. And here in the bottom you have, wait, I have to change the view a little bit to make it easier for you. Change the light a little bit. Here is a connector. It shows BL touch with the signal, the 5 volt and the ground. This is the 3 pins you are going to connect it. You can't miss it out because it's labeled with BL touch. It's hard to show it on the cam, but there it is. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I put the cable inside to make it the easiest way working. I use these cables and go inside the hole from here, put it over the PSU and connect it to the motherboard. I'm going to stand the camera again and then you can see how I do it. Now the 2 cables are through, I can move them. And now I'm going to connect the 3-pin cable with the signal cable, that's the yellow one, to the top of the wheel touch connector. And the connection for the Z negative, where we unplugged the Z end stop before. This is used for the second cable of the wheel touch. I move the camera a little bit again. So now you plug it in to the old end stop to the 2 bottom pins. Make sure the black wire is in the middle and the white wire is on the bottom. Now everything is prepared to install the wheel touch. I'm going to close the case again. Don't over tight them, just screw them in. And the two last screws to the middle. So now everything from the bottom is done. I turn it around again. I also use a little zip tie to this point here to just put the cable through. So it's easier when the printer moves up and down, left and right, so it doesn't get stuck anywhere. Now we take the fan cover with the mounted BL Touch, and we are going to connect the BL Touch right now. So now the cable is connected, and I put it back on the top. I put it between the two cables that are already here, so it doesn't move around. And just screw the 3 screws from the shroud back in. Okay, it's done. It's mounted, it can move easy on each side and works fine. Now connect the ribbon cable again. Be careful not to bend the pins, and we are ready to go to install the firmware. Okay, now I'm going to connect the power cable. Okay, it's connected. The next step, you will need the firmware. Either from me, the firmware I did is the MARLIN2.1.1 or you can use the official firmware. Dora Ding can give it to you and you can install it. I can show you a little instruction how to do the Z offset and everything on my firmware, because I only use the firmware I done myself, because I more like the speeds and everything, but it's up to you what you want to use. So you copy the bin file of the firmware to the SD card, you just plug it in and just boot the printer. It automatically starts flashing the firmware. Now everything is connected, and we are going to do the first homing test. I press on the axis and press on home. When everything is fine, you can test it before it crashes into the bed. Stop it with your finger. If it stops, everything is connected the right way. So in my case, it's connected fine. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do the Z offset and everything, but for now I'm going to check if the pin of the BL Touch is higher than the tip of the nozzle, because this is important, that the BL Touch is not going to crash into your print while you're printing. So in my case I have to move the BL Touch a little bit up because the tip is lower than the nozzle itself. So I place the camera again and going to screw it up a little bit. So now I'm going to do the same thing again, but now I'm going to let him home. I press on the access menu and I press home. Okay, now the printer is homed. It knows now exactly its spots. And now we are going to heat the bed to 60 degrees C. And after it's done, we are going to do the Z offset. If you want to sure on the first time you don't want the bed to crash inside, the nozzle to crash inside the bed, go and set the probe Z offset. I'm going to show you again how to do it. Go to -1 so you can make sure it doesn't run into your print bed and damages the glass. So for now, for me it's fine. We're still waiting for the heating up. It's now on 37 degrees, waiting it to go up to 60 degrees C. In case you have any questions about firmware or you need help with installing the BL Touch or the 3D Touch, just contact me on Facebook over the messenger. Just send me a private message and I'm going to help you. Also, I think Dora is going to tag me on this post she's going to do with my video, how to install everything. So whenever you need help, just let me know. I'm trying my best to help you, and I think I have some references now on our community because some of you people already use my firmware, and if you need something, just let me know. Okay, the bed is almost heated up. It's now at 52 degrees C. As I told, it's not the prettiest way, but it works fine. It doesn't go stuck anywhere when you use the zip tie on here, and the cable can just go to the port where the power supply is with no issues. Okay, the bed is heated now. Before we do the Z offset, I'm going to home the printer again, because when the bed gets heated, it can wrap a little bit and the values are different from the one when you home when it's cold. Okay, now the printer is homed again. Now I'm going to put the nozzle in the middle of the bed, because right now the probe is in the middle, but I want to make the Z offset in the middle with the tip of the nozzle, so I'm going to move it until it's in the middle right now, and I put a piece of paper underneath it. And then now a very important thing to do the Z offset the right way is, I'm going to move my camera again. When you're in this menu, you press the axis. Oh, by accident I homed again, no problem, let's do it. Now I'm going to have to move it again to the middle, because it's not in the middle anymore. Now it is. And now you have to go to the known 0 position of the Z-axis. Now it's 13 millimeters up from its known 0 point. We are going now to 0 it, going down until it says soft end stops. Now when it can't go lower anymore, and there is still a lot of room to the papers, and then doesn't even touches the tip of the nozzle. So now we are going to set the Z offset. You go out of this menu, go to settings, go to configuration, and there you find the button probe Z offset. Now we are in the menu where you can set the Z offset. I'm going to lower it now until the nozzle scratches the paper. Still not a lot of room. Okay, now it's really hard to move, so I have to go up again. I think negative 350, 3450 is okay. It barely touches the nozzle. I think it's not enough, so I'm going to lower it a little bit more to negative 3.460. It's almost good. Go lower a little bit more. Still a little bit of room, and it barely scratches the paper, so I'm going down a little bit more. Okay, now I feel the resistance of the nozzle on the paper. I'm going to keep this setting right now, so I just hit the middle button. After I have done this, and I don't want to do it more often after each reboot, I'm going to the right side and go to store settings. When it beeped, the settings are stored. When you turn off the printer and turn it on again, it's still the same value set. And now we can do a little bit of test print, moving up the nozzle again, and I have to feed some filament. Give me a second. I'm going to clean the bed before we start any print. I use isopropyl alcohol. Okay, now I take out the SD card and I'm going to print a little test cube for you. Just have to set it up in Cura, just a second. So the test cube, I just have to slice it. I'm going to print it with 0.2 layer height and a speed of 60 millimeters per second, first layer 20 millimeters a second. Retract 1.6 millimeters with 40 millimeter retract speed. I'm going to slice it, copy to my SD and plug it in. Okay, let's go. And just now take the file and start the print. It's heating up and let's see how it goes out. When it's printing, oh, I forgot I don't have the filament, so now it went to the filament change menu. The filament change menu, because the sensor, the filament runout sensor, saw that there is no filament inside, so now we're waiting and I'm going to load the filament.
Sound waves reaching the microphone are changed into impulses of electric current. No need to worry about your pre-recorded music tapes being accidentally erased.
Okay, I put the filament inside and now I'm going to load. I purge more, because it's not the white filament coming out, it's still blue because of my last print. Okay, now it's done. I take off what comes out. And now I'm going to press continue. And now it's heating. Whenever you need to change the Z offset mid print, you can just go to the settings, configuration and probe Z offset. You can do this mid print and it actually changes the height. So print starts. Now it's going to do 25 points probing, because it's set to a mesh of 5 by 5. After it's done, the print's going to start. So, let's go. Also, I take out the rest of the filament that comes off it. Now the print starts. Let's see how it goes out. Drawing the purge line. Now I'm going to do the skirt lines. First layer is going down perfectly. You can recognize that the firmware is a little bit faster in prints. I'm printing the walls with 60 millimeters and the outer walls with 30 millimeters a second. And for 60 millimeters, this is, for such a little object, fast enough. It's a 2x2 cube, 2x2 centimeters. Let's see how it goes out, and then we are going to finish this video. Hope you liked it, and if you want some other videos how to do something, let me know, Andorra, and I can do it. And one thing more, as you see, my bed clips are flipped upside down because it's safer when you have the BL Touch mounted that it doesn't crash into the high top on the clips. And when you are going to use my firmware, make sure you have them in the front and in the back because of the perch line. When you do, I also share my start G code and everything will be fine.